I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching the Apothecary Diaries, Season 1, Episode 23. Last episode, we got blue roses.
We did.
It was phenomenal. It was amazing. Lacan! We're talking to Lacan! It's happening!
We're standing in front of him. I'm
excited.
I can't believe I was able to hold myself back from not immediately clicking to watch the next episode after watching episode 22 with the fact that they were face to face. I don't know why I never imagined, I never got that far in my imagination of what the actual, them looking into each other's eyes would be like. But they're standing in front of each other in this very equals position, and it makes me feel really good and really excited to see whatever's about to happen.
I want to know what Mau Mau thinks of what Lacan thinks. I feel like Lacan, he might have interesting ways to go about things, but I think that all signs kind of point to him just wanting to have and take care of Mau Mau and her mother. But I don't know what Mau Mau knows, and I don't know what Mau Mau thinks. And I love this show so much, and there's so many mysteries behind character intentions, but also potential blossoming romance. And I'm like, are there other shows like this? Can I get more of things like this?
Mm-hmm. And I feel like we're very much nearing an end of a season. And to be bringing in Laolin and her character really strong last episode in terms of this intrigue aspect of what is her father plotting?
Shisho, yeah.
What are they thinking? Jinshi can't even read what they're thinking. And I'm like, ah!
Yep. Ready?
Yeah.
Yep. Sweet. Oh my god. Why are we here? Oh.
Wow. To come here right when Mau Mau's face to face with him.
Holy
Where is she?
shit.
This is where she is.
Ah!
That's probably the best thing he's ever heard.
I'm turning it up. This is insane. Oh my god.
He's so happy. We both drink? We both get drunk.
There's 5 coinciding with the matches.
She's poisoning one of them. She hasn't lost her composure.
Everything. 0-1. It's fine. We come back. The sound design is perfect. 0-2.
また負けた。シャンチーで負けなしの軍師殿に挑むのだから多少は心得があるのかと思いきや実戦の経験はないようだ。すでに2敗。
You think Lacan would risk her dying?
かどうか旗見にはわからない。
私からでよろしいですか？
ああ、いいよ。
What is she planning? What is she thinking?
結果も見えている。毒入りだとすると3
He
倍
can't
目は危
interfere.
険すぎる。ラカンはどこまで読んでいるのか。
罪です。お情けでも勝ちは勝ちということでいいですね。
ああ、間違っても娘にとるわけにはいかんからね。どれを選んでくれる？
好きなものをどうぞ。
味はあるのかい？
一口飲めば嫌な味だと思うでしょうね。
そのうち一つでも味が違えば娘に毒が及ばないとわかるだろう。
Oh my
わざ
god.
と負けるとはやは
This
り抜け目のない
is
男だ。
amazing.
ではこれを。嫌な味だ。
これで薬屋が3倍目に毒を
No.
飲む心配はなくなった。
I don't know.
それは同時に薬屋に勝ち目はない。
私が勝てばうちの子になってくれるね。
He's faking it. He's getting in your head.
熱いな。
これは一体一杯では問題ない薬なのだろう。いくら憎らしいからといって。
酒は百薬の長と言いますから。
酒？
酔っているだけのようです。
は？
He's lightweight.
稽古なんですよ、この人。
そういえばいつもジュースばかりで。ではさっき入れた液体は？
アルコールです。さてと。
High percentage, baby.
さっさとこの男を運び出して議論の
Let's
花を
go.
咲かせましょう。
Oh my god.
生まれた時から人間の区別がつかなかった。乳母と母を間違えるどころか男女の区別もつかなかった。父は
The
私に
face
呆れ、
blindness. It's
これで
crazy.
は役に立たぬと、母はそんな父を取り戻そうと必死だった。名家の長子でありながら手すさびで覚えた語とシャンチーにのめり込み、奔放に生きることができた。声や素振り、体格で人を覚えるんだよ。お前ならシャンチーかな。おじきだけは容量は悪いが優秀なおじきのおかげで駒に見えるようになった。
Fascinating.
おじきが社に見えた時に再確認できた。成長してからは家柄のおかげでいきなり長を任された。
Family name. Who's
自
the
分が弱
uncle?
くとも
We don't even
部
get
下
his
を無駄なく
face.
使えばお釣りが来る。人が駒となるシャンチーは何より面白いゲームに違う。
Oh, what a
Oh my
line.
god.
仕事でもゲームでも無敗が続く中、噂の妓女と対決することになる。無数の白黒の中、そこだけが
Could he see
鮮や
your
かに
face?
輝いていた。女の名はフォンシェ。技量で負けなしの妓女と軍部で負けなしの自分。観客は面白いことであろう。確かに強い。所詮は意の中の蛙。負けた。それも圧倒的に。ああ、人とはこういう顔をしているのか。まるで宝泉花の実のような。
Balsam.
触れたら弾けそうな。次はまくるまい。ひたすら語とシャンチーを繰り返すだけの仰せが 何年か
The
続い
first
た。
face he could see. Not even his parents.
義老で生まれた本心は誇りだけを固めたような性格だった。
Purely made of
母は
pride.
おりません。私を産んだ女ならいますが、義女は母になれませんので。
Is that what she meant, Mao Mao, when she said she had no mother?
才能ある義
The
女
same thing?
ある程度人気者になると本心もその一人だった。きつすぎる対応が万人向けではないものの一部の小塚に受けていたらしい。次第に根もつり上がり、美月に一度会うの
How do you
が
devalue
厄介だった。
He
courtesan?
could only afford to see. Oh my god.
放線かと
Balsam.
なんだそれは。
片ばみ、別名猫足です。解毒や虫刺されに効く生薬だとか。種が弾け飛ぶんです。
それは面白い。
いつ来られますか？
また3ヶ月後に。
わかりました。
本線の身請け話を聞いたのはその頃だった。小塚たちの競り合いで釣り上がっていった。武官として出世したものの、異母兄弟に跡継ぎの立場を奪われた自分には太刀打ちできる額ではなかった。
たまには賭けをしませんか？あなた
Did they try to decrease her value together?
If I win, I will take anything I want. Holy shit. Oh my god.
And he
Oh
was
my
always
god.
better at one than the other.
頭をよぎった。
メイメイ。
Mei Mei. Oh my god, that's Mei Mei. The colors are the same.
気づけば手が重なっていた。本線からは甘い言葉も何もなかった。もうそんな柄ではなく、ある意味似た者同士の二人だった。
子がやりたい。
自分とてシャンチーがしたいと思っていた。優秀だったおじきが失脚した。
Wow.
補給の遺憾になったと思ったら追放だと。一族の
No
連れを
way!
優秀なのに相変わらず容量が悪い。
No!
奴と親交が深かっただろう。家を出てしばし留学しろ。
留学？しかし。
なんだ？
いえ、なんでも。
Study abroad. He's not gonna be
親
here.
であり上司である父に逆らえるはずがなかった。身請け話が破談になったと本線から文があり、ちょうどで戻れるだろうと高をくくっていた。まさか戻るのに3年もかかるとは思いもしなかった。本線からの文がこんなに。土くれ？
A finger. A finger.
しかも2つ？
Mao Mao and her.
これは指切り絵が流行っているのは知っていた。身請け話が破談になった原因、もう一つの小さな指はなぜ気づけなかったのか。シャンチしか頭になかった。こんな簡単な答えにすらたどり着けなかった。おいせは
お前本心ならもういない。放っておいて価値が落ちた技術がどうなるかなんて知ったこっちゃないんだろ。
少し考えれば分かったはずだ。その原因は本社の腹には信用と価値が地に落ちた技女がたどる末路をよたかのごとく客を取り、どんな
Broom's broken.
ところで時は戻らない。短絡的だった自分が招いたことだ。ここは
お目覚めですか？
メイ
Mei
ン。
Mei.
それにしてもひどい顔色。 赤いというか青いというか。
まさかあんなに強い酒だとは思わなくてね。
Meimei seems to enjoy her time with
フォンシェン
him.
の下でカムロをしていた。
She knew.
メイメイとはよく遊んでやった。
She thinks of him fondly.
筋がいいと褒めたらもじもじしていた。
はい、どうぞ。
ああ。
マオマオが作ったそうですよ。
マジマジ。
マオマオが。
That fits.
こちらの箱もマオマオが。
Blue Rose.
とえかれたとしても形を保つことができるんですね。メイメイ姉さん。失礼します。
This is so amazing. Okay, that was the Apothecary Diaries, Season 1, Episode 23.
I had to say it with you that time.
This show is so phenomenal. Okay. Wow. I feel like this is just the culmination of us repeatedly saying from like episode 4 on how well tied together every detail and aspect of this show is. And back then, I was a fucking idiot. I had no fucking clue how absurdly phenomenal this show would become.
Mm-hmm.
So, Luomen, Mao Mao's father, is actually her grand uncle because her father, Lacan, was taught by Luomen how to go about Go in chess and identify others as those pieces. And then Lacan, through his life, finally found somebody who had a face. Feng Shen, Mao Mao's mother. Things happen between them. Relationships develop. Because of Feng Shen's push out from his job, that pushed Lacan into having to go overseas. What thought to be 6...
You mean Lauman's put?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry. Lauman's push out of his job was the thing that was then used to push Lacan overseas, for which he thought was 6 months. Ended up being 3 years. Feng Shen assumed that Lacan was a fucking player, didn't give a shit about her at all, and that she was the one who was being played. After 3 years of silence, used something akin to curse somebody as cutting off her finger and Mao Mao's finger to send to Lacan. Lacan runs to the Verdigris house and is told that Feng Shen is dead. I think that Lacan still thinks Feng Shen is dead. I think it's possible that he knows that she isn't, but I think it's on the table. That because it was very specific, the wording that was used.
Can we bring up what the exact wording was?
Yeah, it was when he was getting hit with the broom
And the broom literally. This is the old lady, obviously.
It was dude, the black rain. It was absolutely phenomenal. Okay. Function is gone now. I think that you left her for 3 whole years. I think that upon the assumption of like, oh, what happened to her? Like, of course, like if I put any thought into it, of course, this is why the deal fell through. Sure. But then the next step of like what she had to do then because of her like price lowering, the assumption would be that she then would have gotten sick, which she did. And then I think exists an opportunity that Lacan would assume that death would have been like had because Feng Shen would of course not wanted anything to do with Lacan if Lacan would have just abandoned her for 3 years because he's a piece of shit, which obviously wasn't the case.
There's many scenarios that could go through his head of whatever would be a death for her, whether it is the syphilis, whether it's suicide or something else, childbirth. It could have been literally so many different things that we've already been shown in this show. And when we have, like you said, really important wordage of saying she is gone now, it takes you back to our duo on the walls with Mao Mao saying that her kid was taken from her. Her kid is gone, but never explicitly that her kid had died. And Mao Mao leaves that conversation thinking that the context and the intent was about death. And then upon further reflection realizes, like, no, that wordage can be seen in a different light, in a different way.
Lacan is grieving.
Yeah.
While getting hit.
He received pieces of decomposed flesh in a bag. If you take away curse from that, it could lead you to the thinking of a body, a dead body.
He connects it right in front of our eyes that...
No, I'm not saying he doesn't connect it as a curse.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying as a viewer or as a person, that's what also could lead him to thinking maybe they're dead. Because he literally received, like, pieces of their body.
But, so I don't think, like, pieces of their body, I don't think because they're dead, because he says all she could do was take customers like a streetwalker after the pregnancy. So in his mind... he's at this point already understanding that Feng Shen didn't die from the birth.
I wasn't trying to be like concrete with how he would think or feel. I'm just more saying that, like, decomposed flesh already in your head about curses and that and whatnot. If you hear that they're gone, it's easier for you to believe that they have died. I wasn't trying to say that he would really genuinely believe that from that moment they were dead.
Yeah. Seeing the broken broom, it was broken on his back, and seeing him, I think that just based off of his face alone, and then hearing, no matter how much I lamented, there was no way to turn back time, it really comes across, it was all my fault for being so short-sighted, that he believes that Feng Shen is dead. That's where I'm at right now. Holy shit. Jesus. There were so many good moments. Okay, what does Mao Mao think of him? Does Mao Mao think that he assumes she's dead? Does Mao Mao think, regardless of what happened, it's still your fault, fuck you for this?
Well, Mao Mao's left with this fact that, like, she was wanted by her mother originally. She was, like, conceived of, like, love. Her mother wanted to have her and wanted to be able to be bought out by Lacan. And that then turned to a resentment that Mao Mao's mother then had toward her. That this man, she devalued herself with this affection she placed misguidedly into this man who it ended up not wanting to be with her, leaving her and this child. She's suffering from syphilis. She's having to work in a way that she had never had to work before with her body. And all she has is this child in front of her.
It's a reminder of
Lacan.
Holy shit.
And I feel like when she doesn't kill Mao Mao. When we get the knife, that's the moment that she's cutting off the finger to curse Lacan. It was never, I don't think she was ever this is just a current read, but, like, was she ever really mad or wanting to hurt Mao Mao? Or was it more just, this is a wound, it's not going to actually kill this baby, but I'm going to curse this man for leaving me. It does, I think I had originally seen that scene, obviously hindsight 2020, and thought, oh my god, she's trying to kill Mao Mao. But now knowing that there was this actual, like, curse that existed of cutting off your finger and sending it to someone else.
I think that you have to have, you might have to have some ill will towards your own child to be able to go through with cutting off their pinky if it's for, like, even for with the thought that they live and that it's just for a curse.
Well, yeah, your mind isn't necessarily in a good place, but I'm saying, like, the curse is your pinky. Why include the second pinky unless you're saying, I curse you and my daughter curses you? You know what I mean? Like, there were two pinky. It wasn't just her pinky in there. She wasn't just cursing him there. She was saying that our child will curse you too. Almost like perpetuating this idea that, like, you cannot have either of us.
Yeah. But in trying to understand what her feelings about Mao Mao and of Mao Mao are, like, on one hand, I'd be like, okay, it's constant reminder, I don't want anything to do with this baby. Like, I'm with you with, I don't think that she intended, like, with the knife scene, that wasn't intended for death. It was intended for cutting off her finger. But regardless of that, it's easy for me to believe that she felt negatively towards Mao Mao, whether that's the case or not. But that also could be because of her own sickness leaving her mentally absent.
Yeah, I'm not trying to, like, argue the sanity factor or the moral factor. I'm trying to, like, go at all the complexities of the emotion. It wouldn't just be hatred. It wouldn't just be resentment necessarily.
Yeah. Do you think that Luomen knew that Mao Mao's dad was Lacan?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, because everyone knew. The old lady knew. Everyone knows that is Mao Mao's dad.
Yeah.
Within the Verdigris house, meaning no freaking wonder Lauman raised her. I thought, like, honestly, this whole time I'm like, why wasn't she raised in the Verdigris house? They have servant girls. If a girl is, like, you know, like, why wasn't she raised there? Why was she taken by this doctor that started working in the red light district? Like,
think about,
when did they make that plan? Like, how did that happen?
Think about the idea that the circumstances of Jinshi's birth was made the direct consequence of the circumstances of Jinshi's birth could have potentially been Mao Mao not being raised with her family and both of them being healthy.
What it is both of their families, Jinshi's family getting disrupted and distorted and not able to live together happily, then catalyst to it happening to Mao Mao's too. Both of them in this beginning of their lives, and even, like, before, like, conception, and then the birth, and then after, and a couple years after, their lives were complete. Their family structures, everything was shifted from what could have just been, like, Jinshi being raised by the emperor and Aoduo and a loving family.
Ideally,
and then Mao Mao with
so,
Lacan,
like,
and
Jinshi's dead if things happen differently. Because things happen differently,
That's
theoretically,
true. I wasn't thinking about that fact.
Yeah.
I was still, in my head, I was still thinking that he was switched with, but you're so right. In my scenario, he would be dead.
Yes.
You're right.
So Jinshi's switched. He survives. Theoretically, Luomen loses a job as a consequence, which then sets Lacan out of the country, which then sets Feng Sheng into a situation where she could only get sick, and Mao Mao's birth in the way that it happened.
Mm-hmm. And
That
this is a structure.
Fucked.
This is a structure we've now seen repeated at least once, which is Jinshi. There's an assassination attempt that is being planned against Jinshi. A death, an almost death for Jinshi, which would have been the same thing as when Lauman got exiled from the palace. It was Jinshi could have almost died, and Mao Mao steps in, pushes him out of the way, and receives an injury.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. It's similar. It's not repetitive, but there is, like, a repetition of themes, which there is throughout this story with so many different themes are repeated.
Dude, seeing
stories.
Just thinking of Jinshi standing there in between the game, between Lacan and Mao Mao now, with that information had, is so wild. Like, seeing Jinshi in between their game, where it's like, these two people's lives were forever changed just because of potentially your birth and because of the royalty of somebody within your birth, or who was supposed to be within your birth. Mm-hmm. Like, in terms of like the class system and how Jinshi feels about it and the interactions and dialogue we've been given from him, it's so wild to think of the trickle-down effect of this entire world and decisions that have been made within the palace itself.
Mm-hmm. And there's also the favoring factor. Like, we get this with the courtesans and the concubines. Like, the favorites are the ones that bring the most money. The favorites are the ones that are visited by the emperor. In Lacan's case, he was the eldest, but he was not favored by his father. His father left with a mistress and had more kids, and the half-brothers are the ones that received, you know, the family name at its truest power.
Mm-hmm. And
that is, like, honestly, it makes you think, like, who is Lauman's brother? And is it, like, you know, who is that guy? I feel like he has to be important. I feel like whoever Lacan's, like, family stems from has to maybe be important in this story.
Maybe.
Like, no way it's, like, Laulan's dad or something.
Shisho?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, it would, probably
not. That would be wild.
No, because then they would be, like, related. Like, and I don't think they'd be related. But I feel like, where does this family power lie? Like, if Mao Mao stems from a family of power, as a viewer, I am just a bit intrigued of, like, wondering how far up the ladder they would be.
Yeah.
Like, Lacan is far up the ladder, but he climbed that way himself.
Mm-hmm.
He became the military strategist that he is, and he became well known through obviously some privilege, but not given, like, the full privilege maybe that his family could have offered.
Luomen knows that Feng Shen is alive, right?
Yes. I'm sure, because he makes medicines and things like that.
I would think, yeah. What do you think? Do you think Luomen and Lacan have had contact since Mao Mao's birth? Or do you think Luomen has intentionally kept Feng Shen's life a secret from Lacan?
I mean, if Lacan couldn't reach out to anyone on his study abroad, that would mean that he would probably have no clue where his uncle was at his point of return. He might have, you know, somewhat found that out throughout the years where he was.
I think he'd want to know who's raising Mao Mao.
He might, honestly, you're right. He probably did find out purely because he was trying to find out through the old lady who was raising Mao Mao. But I also wonder if the old lady would have kept that a secret. Like, if he's consistently throughout the years going to the verdigris house he's consistently going to the verdigris house to try to buy Mao Mao. That in itself maybe shows an assumption to him that she lives there and that she's currently working and that she is there that can be bought. But she hasn't been raised there. She is not working there. So she really can't be bought until the moment that Jinshi ends up buying her, because that's when she starts working there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that could show that he might assume that she is growing up there and living there.
Yeah.
I did have an interesting, just like, this could be like totally out of pocket and totally wild, and I feel like almost weird for saying it or thinking it, but I can't ignore it. It's like bugging me a little bit. I can't ignore Mei Mei's possible feelings for Lacan. I feel like Mei Mei might possibly have feelings for him. When we get her walking with Mao Mao outside after, like, the weird man's left, Mao Mao, you can come out of that back room, the annex, and she's walking with Mao Mao, she's talking very wistfully about how she wishes that a contract could be offered to her that is similar to what Mao Mao's getting offered, and we get a flash to her having sat with Lacan and playing with him, and Mao Mao's like, I'm sorry, you have to deal with him, and she basically has a line that gives this energy at which that she enjoys interacting with him, and it's not a bother to her.
It might be just like my inexperience with like romance stuff. I think I look at it as much more of a sense of admiration, or not admiration, or just like respect, knowing who he is based off of his interactions with Fong Shen and what kind of person he is. And it's more of that than, and like being envious of like, oh, I wish that I could have had that love and been bought out, like in the hypothetical that did exist between Lacan and Fong Shen, rather than direct feelings for Lacan.
Right. But another thing to bring up is that Mao Mao's deal. We know that Mao Mao was very wanting to know how Pyrene felt, you know, and sending letters to Pyrene, looking at Lee Haku as a specimen. We're getting parallels between Lee Haku and Pyrene to Lacan and Fong Shen.
Yeah.
And how he was in the military. He wasn't able to have enough money to be able to visit her very often. And Mao Mao caring a lot that her big sisters end up with who they want to end up with, or who they would be the happiest with. And we have Mao Mao making a deal here that if Lacan loses, he will buy one of the courtesans that's here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily think that her mother is for sale. I mean, she might be. This is just a thought, a theory, an idea separate that is just kind of like I said, it might be like crazy,
mm-hmm.
but I need to put it out there just to know that I spoke on it.
Mm-hmm. The idea of her of
him buying Mei Mei instead,
or Pyrene instead.
Oh no, I don't think Lee Haku would like that very much. So
no, I meant for Lee Haku. Mm-hmm. I thought that's where you're going with it. When no. I was thinking it was still Fong Shen in the terms of even when withered, it can retain its shape, and leaving that rose with, you know, Lacan.
Yeah, no, it's not my main thought process.
Yeah, just like okay, there exists a timeline.
There exists a timeline where I can read
not
it this
likely
way.
Timeline, but it exists.
Yeah, and so I feel like I need to say it.
That's fair.
But on another end, like obviously very realistically, Mei Mei would know, I guess, more of the truths of this pairing and this romance than anyone else would.
Yeah.
Because she was so close to both of them during the time of them getting to know each other before Mao Mao existed. And I feel like it makes me think back to that other brothel that we visited where the little girl ended up wanting to stab that guy, mm-hmm. you know, that Mao Mao had just saved from a kind of fake murder-suicide, but really was just a murder. And how Mao Mao realizes that everyone in that brothel, even the old lady that was in charge of it, were kind of in on it. And when we get Mei Mei leaving the room, you know, right before this happens, and then we also get the old lady's response when Lacan returns, it very much feels like everyone here was in on what was happening. Like, it really, through that other brothel and through this brothel, it's helping paint this picture that is portraying this really complex love and family dynamic. Like, we know that Pyrene is the one that breastfed Mao Mao. Like, they're the sisters. It's really this idea that, like, it is a business, yes, but the old woman and everyone there does want everyone to be bought out by someone that they like or they love, and that they'll be happy. And they'll kind of look away at some shady business if it will, like, make the people that they care about happy.
Mm. Man, one of my favorite lines this episode is from Lacan's, like, inner monologue about his own life and what enjoyments he had and a lot that he didn't. He said, "Most of all, playing chess with human pieces was the most fun game I had ever played." What a fucking line. Oh my lord. I really enjoyed the game between them. I didn't know. Like, I was like, okay, surely Lacan throws because he doesn't want Mao Mao to die. I had not, for once, considered the idea that, okay, yeah, Mao Mao's like, of course he'll throw because he doesn't want me to die, but it doesn't matter. The reason why she's like, pick for yourself is it doesn't matter if medicine's in it or not. It's fucking liquor, and it's 100% victory, like 100% chance of victory regardless of what he drinks, because he will pass out from just drinking one of them.
And he knows that too because he abstains.
Yeah. But I guess it was a risk of like how high of alcohol percentage it was, you know?
Part of me thinks they both went into this deal thinking that Lacan should lose.
Isn't it so fucking...
But as long as it's with the rules, because pride. We get that line about Mao Mao's mom being like a very like what made her up is her pride. As long as the rules state it, then it's okay to screw up a little bit and let someone else win.
I thought that it was amazing that it shared the parallel of, like, now in hindsight, of Fong Shen being like, all right, but for this game, let's make some stakes. Let's make a bet for this game. And that's exactly how Mao Mao approached it, too.
And Mao Mao would know about this probably. It either she knows about this from Mei Mei, or someone else at the Verdigris house that knew that was going to happen that night. Or it's just the fact that she is so much like her parents, that this is coming back into the timeline, into the story as a parallel.
How much did Mei Mei hear, you know, when they before she had left the room? The idea of like, oh, how long can you stay? Yeah, 3 months from now. Yup, that was when... Okay. Was it before or after?
I guess it's after Mei Mei leaves
that
she makes the deal.
No,
she's in the room.
Before, yeah. And Mei Mei hears that at least. I think Mei Mei could have walked away potentially with the idea that Lacan wins, and for his victory, he gets to impregnate Fong Shen and have his way with her, without understanding the actual like thing that led to that, you know? That lies somewhere as a possibility. Wow.
I really, like, what is a future where, okay, so Lacan is in the Verdigris house right now. He has woken up there. What is the future there if he really does buy
Fong Shen?
Yeah, because, like, it's not like she'd be very expensive at this point. Like, she is hidden in the back. Like, no one knows she's there. She's in the annex. She's incredibly ill. What is the future there? Because is it just that tragic love story, but still it's almost comforting to know that once he finally gets back with, like, gets to her, he finally finds her again, that he can then keep her in some sort of place of comfort. I mean, she's being kept in a very comfortable place right now. Maybe someone to play with as she continues on her, like, you know, dying days.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I'm also like, that is so...
I can imagine Lacan making the same face upon seeing her that he did when learning that she might have died. Like, I can see him just being, like, in, like, a ridiculously apologetic on his hands and knees. I can't believe this is, like, you're alive. I'm so sorry for what I did. Like, I loved you. I did not want to come back to you after 6 months, you know?
I think what I imagine is his expression. He walks in the room, and then we have that expression that happens when Jinxian is carrying Mao Mao down the steps and passing him, where his eyes are, like, in this state of shock. And then that ends. and he walks over to the bed, sits on it, like maybe on the very edge, and plays with her because she set out all the stones.
Gotcha.
And nothing is said.
Interesting.
That's almost like what I envision, but I'm also like, you're leading this man to a person who is very much of a shell of who they once were, this person that he very much loved, or at least didn't realize how much he loved until they were gone to him. And just the idea of having to see that possible, like, repeated heartbreak.
Yeah.
It scares me, and I'm like, I don't have major ill feelings towards the Khan. I like him very much as a character.
The Khan's a great character. I love this show.
I just don't know what this ending is going to be, like, for them. And, like, not the show, because obviously there's so many other things that aren't being tackled here that are within the plot. I'm like, what is the ending for this family here? What is the dynamic that is going to be continuing on in the story? I know I had said before that I feel like this narrative line about Mao Mao's family needed to be at some sort of resolution before romance could ever possibly enter the story more heavily, or she could ever feel anything. And oh my god, that takes me back to her mother having such the similar line of "I have no mother."
Yeah.
Oh gosh, okay.
You don't have to worry or ask or wonder, because we will figure out exactly what's going to happen next episode when they show us.
Oh, when they show us? Yeah. No, I'm going to guess everything right before it, and it's going to be 100% right.
I love that sequence with Lacan running. It was so beautiful. The music in this episode was phenomenal. The score in the series has been phenomenal. I love this show.
I love this show too.
Are there other shows like this? Have you watched other romance anime that are kind of like this?
I feel like this is an example of one of those shows where obviously we've barely seen anything like romance. It's more just like something that a viewer kind of hopes and wants to happen, you know, and not just like it's explicitly about romance. And I think that's why this show is so important to me and different, is the fact that it is so many other genres.
Yeah.
And the narrative is really taking place in other areas, and it's not just about, you know, the interpersonal connection between like two people that might like each other someday. So no, this is kind of like forging its own path in a place that I really like in my heart.
All right, that's all I have, you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.